Welcome. This is your girl, Jewel Bakewell. I am the host of New Orleans Home Search, and today I'm going to be talking about an important topic. The topic is grant money. I am the broker owner of Crown Jewel Realty. I have been a realtor for almost 10 years. I am a sustainable home developer. I also work with my sisters. We have a company called Staging Sisters where we virtually stage and apply furnishing to homes. And I am a realtist. I am the treasurer, the 2021 treasurer of New Orleans Real Estate Brokers. And our main focus, our main initiative is fair housing, affordable housing. So I am super excited about this being the first topic of today's podcast. And I am excited because today we have Randy Chambliss on the line with us. Randy Chambliss and I go way back with educating our community. We've done first-time homeowner seminars before, and Randy and his wife Veronica are certainly a power couple. Randy is the executive director of Louisiana Housing Authority. He's also the broker and the mortgage branch manager for Geneva Financial. He's a developer, an educator, a public speaker, and he and his wife Veronica have a show, a podcast as well, and it's called Mortgage Wise. So you guys feel free to check them out as well. You can catch us on the first and third Thursday of every month, bringing you someone new, some new information to educate you and guide you in the home ownership process. We're also keeping up with New Orleans trends and what's going on in our city. So thank you for coming on board, Randy.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm honored. I'm grateful. I'm just excited. I'm over here fired up. I can't wait to get started. This is awesome.
Okay, so let's go. All right. Well, you guys always hear advertisement about grant money, right? Everyone talks about grant money, that it exists. Biden just passed a $1.3 trillion bill towards housing. There are local and state funding available for you to attain home ownership. And so everyone talks about it, but today we're going to talk about how to actually attain these funds. What do you need to do and what areas they are available? So there are a few different programs that offer the first-time homeowners assistance. And most of the time they require you to have credit counseling, home ownership counseling before attaining these funds. So I am a certified teacher of the Jefferson Parish first-time homeowners class, but there are a number of nonprofit organizations like the Neighborhood Development Foundation that with Fred Johnson, and they give counseling on financial fitness, counseling on being a landlord, foreclosure preventative measures to not only get you in your house, but keep you in your house, right? And so these programs are available to you. There's the New Orleans and Jefferson Parish Finance Authorities. There's the New Orleans and Jefferson Community Development. There's the Orleans Parish Financial Authority, and NOLA.org is the email address that you will go to attain more information about it. So with that one, they give down payment assistance. So when you are in the process of purchasing a home, and Randy will talk more to this, you need your down payment and you need closing costs. Okay, so most of the time, closing costs can be negotiated with the seller. A broker like myself, I pride myself on being able to give my buyers anything they could possibly need to make the transaction smooth, and so they can bring less money to the closing table. So closing costs is something that can be negotiated and can be worked out. However, down payment is required. The bank wants to see that you're putting some skin in the game, right? You're putting something into it. You're going to make sure that you pay your mortgage and you do everything it takes to keep your home. Well, this grant money provides you with down payment assistance. They give up to 5%, which normally covers the complete down payment. So what that means is that you walk away at the closing with your deposit back. Okay, so pretty much you're not bringing any money to the table and you're getting something in return, which is the biggest thing that can create home ownership wealth is owning your own home. And if you can get grant money to achieve that, then why not, right? Okay, so some stipulations included are you must live in the house for 5 years. So they want to make sure that this is an owner occupied situation, that you are planning on living in this property, taking care of this property, keeping it up, and either transferring it down the line along your family or selling it after at least 5 years. Now, other programs require you to have your house longer, 10 years. So your lender will discuss with you what those stipulations and the year amounts are, and what are the penalties if you decide to sell before that 10-year period or 5-year period is over, right? So they also want you to have at least a 640 credit score. So credit is important. Within the last couple of years, it's been a huge phenomenon. You see all over social media, everyone's talking about credit. And everyone's getting more educated on what it takes to maintain a high credit score and to get a high credit score. So let's keep that up, and just know in order to receive grant funds, you need that credit to be at least a 640. Also, your debt to income ratio matters. So most programs require a 45% debt to income ratio. Some programs want it to be less. So what does that mean? That means that you will have to wait until after you purchase your home to purchase a car, right? So once you have purchased a home and the credit bureau sees that you not only have a mortgage attached to your credit, but that you're making mortgage payments on time, your credit score will increase. So that helps you when it's time to go buy your car, to purchase your car at a lower interest rate. So it all works hand in hand. Try and your best to keep things in order and wait to purchase that car that you really want until after you've purchased your home. That is very important. Also, with debt, you want to be careful with co-signing for other people, okay? Adding your name to things and getting these loans during this COVID season that you may not necessarily need at this time. It may be a good idea to hold off on doing those things until after you receive your grant money, purchase your home, and now you're in a better position to purchase these things. Some other stipulations includes the house needs to be move-in ready. So the city and the state, they're also investing in this property. They're giving you funds, anticipating that this house is livable, that they're going to be able to have and enjoy this property for a long time, and that they're not investing in something that's not going to be worth anything. So the most important thing is making sure when you're out looking for properties or you're online, that you're paying attention to the condition of the property. So a lot of times I'll have my clients send me properties from a Zillow or Realtor.com. And I find that these properties are in fair condition. They're not in the condition suitable for you to move in. So that is not going to work with the grant money. They're going to have an inspection. The inspection is similar to a Section 8 inspection. And during that inspection, they will pretty much lay out all the repairs that need to be made. And you will have to then negotiate with the seller on making these repairs in order for the deal to go through. So it's very important that the property that you choose, once you get that okay, is move-in ready. So I just want to kind of backtrack and let you know what the qualifications are for the Orleans Parish Finance Authority. Okay. which is giving the down payment assistance of 5%. So you must live in the house for 5 years. Your income needs to be below 94,000. You need at least a 640 credit score. Your debt less than 45% of your income. You need to have this Orleans Parish resident is your primary residence, and it needs to be move-in ready. So that is the Orleans Parish. Jefferson Parish offers 4% down payment. Okay, the income, they have two programs. One program, your income cannot be more than 98,000. The soft second program, your income cannot be more than $56,360. If you make one penny over $56,360, you will not qualify for the soft second grant money from Jefferson Parish. Okay, so Jefferson Parish grant homeowners soft second gives up to $50,000 for anywhere in Jefferson Parish, and then Kenner is $60,000. Okay, with the soft second, they want you to live in the house for 10 years. 10 years, so that's very important to know. Your income needs to be below the moderate median income. And there's also an income chart. So if you're interested, definitely DM me. I can send you the chart with the qualifications. It goes by family size. So the more people in the family, the better your states are at receiving this grant. You also need to have at least a 640 credit score. So with every grant, whether it's Orleans or Jefferson Parish, you definitely need that 640 credit score. All right. So another grant that I want to talk to you about is the grant that allows the soft second. So we have down payment assistance. We have soft second. So soft second grant has a higher interest rate. The interest rate is going to be higher than the market interest rate. So you need to be aware of the cost of the loan. If you decide to get the grant money, once that term is over, so if it's a 5-year, if it's a 10-year term, you want to refinance this house, or you want to sell this house and upgrade to something else. And by that time, you'll have accumulated your money and maybe you're ready to move on to something bigger and better. So that's the way that one works. Okay, so they want to make sure that if you're living below the median income, that you're still able to purchase a home. If you are receiving Section 8, and you have had that Section 8 voucher of 2 years or more, you can go to your worker. You can tell your worker that you're interested in purchasing a home. They will set you up with the home ownership counseling, and they will set you up with not only down payment assistance with this home, you also could probably qualify to have the assistance with your mortgage. So I recently worked with a client in Kenner, and she had a Section 8 voucher. She went through the protocols, and at the end, when we close, she only contributes $250 towards her mortgage. And that's for 15 years. They will assist her for 15 years with paying her mortgage. So that is a huge blessing. Okay. And if you're able to take advantage of this, I definitely advise you to do it. If you're on Section 8 right now, this is not the end of the road for you. This is a stepping stone, and your next stepping stone can be home ownership. Okay, so we definitely have to remember that.
Events are a great way for our members to connect, whether in person or virtually, at a designated time and place. Sign up to urbansmartnetwork.com and use our events feature to let others know about upcoming meetups, concerts, parties, conferences, or gatherings. With our one-click social media feature, you can invite anyone to an event, even people who haven't yet joined our network. Become an Urban Smart Network event creator today. It's absolutely free, only on urbansmartnetwork.com.
There's grant options and there's also loan options. And rural development is a loan option. And Randy is going to talk more about rural development. It's available to anyone in rural parishes. Some parts of the West Bank are included. LaPlace is included. Slidell is included. And it offers 100% financing. That means you're bringing no money to the table as long as we're able to get that closing costs figured out with the seller. So thank you, Randy. Can you talk more to us about rural development?
Yes, ma'am. And once again, I appreciate the opportunity to come on. This is great information because the community has to know their options. And oftentimes we don't know. So when we don't know, we can't take action on it. And so we're hoping that the individual that's listening to this podcast not only listen and learn and obtain the knowledge, but also use wisdom and go and apply that knowledge what they learn. So, with that being said, like you mentioned, it's an option, rural development, USDA loan. Most people might be referred to it, and it gives that 100% option to have financing. Now, when we mention 100% financing, we're not saying that you may not have nothing to come to closing with, right? And so there's some costs involved in purchasing a home. For example, one of the costs is you're going to need an appraisal when you're getting loans, right? So that's going to be an out-of-pocket cost that's upfront. That appraisal could be anywhere between $575 to up to $800, depending on if it's a single-family home, duplex, or fourplex, right? That's one you want to be aware of. Another cost is going to be your home inspection, right? You want to have that home inspection to make sure that property is good enough for you to move in without any challenges. Because once you take possession of those keys, those challenges of anything break in the home is yours, right? Your responsibility. So you want to know about that second upfront cost, which is going to be your home inspection. That cost might be anywhere between $400 and $600. Again, depending on if it's a single family home, a threeplex, fourplex, etc. It goes and varies by the square feet of the home. So we talked about those two upfront costs. Another cost is called prepaids, right? You want to be aware of it. You want to budget for that as well. The prepaid is basically your insurances, whether it's homeowners insurance and or flood insurance. If you're in a flood zone, right, you have to have those insurance. One, it protects you and your family. Two, it protects your assets. And then three, the bank will require it as well, right? So you want to know about how much those prepaid costs is going to be, which is flood insurance and again, homeowners insurance. And you can shop for those, right? Now, the other cost also is called closing costs, right? And let me back up just a little bit. The prepaid is called prepaid because you basically prepaying it in advance, right? So let's say that the yearly premium for your homeowner's insurance is $2,300 for the year. Well, you're going to pay that $2,300 up front, right? So that's why it's called prepaid, right? Now, in regards to your closing costs, whatever title company that you choose, right? That company that has that real estate attorney or may have a notary in there, that's going to be the company that's going to, one, research your home title to make sure that the seller that's actually selling your home, that they actually can sell it to you, right? Because you'll be surprised, some people try to sell a home, but they inherited the property. You have 3, 4 other siblings that the homeowner didn't know about, right? And so that title company is going to research title to make sure that that person that's selling you the home, that they actually have the right to sell it. And so also that title company going to take care of all the tedious paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork that goes involved on the back end on their end. And so they charge a fee to be able to do that. Now, that's a good fee. Why? Because you're being protected, right? You can walk away from that feeling comfortable. And within that fee, you also have what is called a homeowner's policy, like it's a title insurance policy, but it's a title insurance policy for the owner. So that way, if there's something come up in the future, 6 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you have that policy that protects your interest in that home. So those are some costs that's going to go along with the rural development 100% financing. So what does that 100% financing actually look like? Well, typically when you're doing an FHA loan, as a home buyer that's buying a house for the first time, or one that's moving to another home, but a bigger home that's better, then that loan is going to require 3.5% down, right? That's going to be your down payment, 3.5% down. If you are doing a conventional loan, maybe, then a conventional loan product might cost 3% to put down, or it might be even 5% to put down. But what those numbers look like? Well, to keep the math very simple, $100,000 home loan, right? 3.5% of that is only $3,500, right? But imagine for a moment you got the RD, or the rural development, and then that rural development is not only going to be zero down payment, so now you 100% finance, right? The only thing that you have to come to the table is those upfront costs we mentioned, closing costs and those prepaids. But when you have a realtor like you, right, who can negotiate on your behalf, then what happens is she may be able to have the seller to pay some of your closing costs, right? The seller could pay your prepaids with your insurance, flood, and homeowners that we talked about earlier, and the seller actually could pay your title settlement fee. So imagine for a moment, I want you to just visualize that for a moment. You have 100% financing, no money to put down, and the seller's actually paying for your closing. That is literally no money out of pocket. Like we have a DPA program, I don't know if you want me to touch upon it, that we helped a young man, he was an architect, millennial, $335,000 home that he purchased. Beautiful home. We helped him to get a 100% financing down payment assistance. The seller actually paid majority of his closing costs and his prepaid, not majority, all of them. So when he came to the table after purchasing a $335,000 home, he came to the table with a check for $0. So that's the power of 100% financing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And you touched on two things that I kind of want to go back to is the other expenses, right? So when you're purchasing a home, you have financial expenses, which in Randy's world, he would receive the appraisal fee from you. That's a financial expense. You also have inspections. So inspections have a cost, and they range between $700 to $1,000 because you might have a general inspector that says you need a certified roofer or a structural engineer or some type of specialist to come on after him. So it's costs associated with that. I recently helped a client that was able to get assistance from United Way for her inspections and her appraisal. So that was a huge help to her with purchasing her home, and talk about outside expenses that help with that. Just know that you want to put at least $1,000 aside for your inspection, $1,000 aside for your deposit. They want you to actually, for the Orleans and the Jefferson Parish down payment assistance, they want your deposit to be $1,500. So $1,500 for those programs in your deposit, and your appraisal fee. So what is the normal cost for the appraisal fee, Randy?
That cost could be anywhere between $600 up to $800, depending on the square feet of that home.
Okay, so these are outside expenses that you will be responsible for paying. These are expenses that you really can't get around. They're for your protection, especially the inspections. You don't want to skip out on the inspections. I have people say, oh, well, doesn't the appraiser check these things? Yes, the appraiser does check a lot of the things, but there are some things that they do not check. And the appraiser is mainly there to make sure that the value of the home is there and that everything is functioning for you to move in. Not so much for to inspect and go intricate with the parts of the house. Once that home is sold, you cannot go back to the seller and say, hey, the AC went out. Can you fix this? It's done. So you want to make sure that all these things are taken care of in the beginning, even though the appraiser is going to do that Section 8 like inspection and they're going to check things. You want to make sure that you know and you have a peace of mind that you're purchasing a home that you're not going to have to put work into right after.
New Orleans Home Search by Crown Jewel Realty allows you to search listings in New Orleans and surrounding areas. There's a filters icon in the upper right-hand corner. It allows you to customize your search to fit all your real estate needs. You can search listings, favorite listings, schedule showings, even run numbers in the mortgage calculator, and locate local schools with high ratings. Most of all, it allows you to connect directly with Crown Jewel Realty agents. Download New Orleans Home Search today.
The other thing I wanted to touch on is flood. So a lot of times, if the purchase price is one thing, okay, that you have to navigate through, but flood insurance is something different. And if you're receiving grant money, you cannot have flood insurance included in the mortgage. The deal just won't work. So check with your realtor before you even go and look at the property and make sure it is not in the flood zone if you intend to get any of this grant money. Because if the property is in the flood zone, it will totally screw up your numbers and it will mess up that perfect deal that you have going. So it's good to know on the front end before you find a perfect home and you think this is the one and everything looks good about it. And now you find out the flood insurance is this crazy number that takes your debt to income ratio out of whack and screws up the whole deal. So that is a huge nugget that was thrown out is flood insurance. That's a huge impact on us.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, you can't even call your realtor at that point and say, hey, my AC went out. Can you come fix it?
Yeah, we gone. I'm going to give you the number to the home warranty company.
Right. And you certainly can't call your mortgage bank and say, listen, can you come in and adjust this refrigerator? That's not going to happen either. So you just want to be prepared. And that's the purpose of these educational pieces that Jewel's putting out. Did you want me to touch a little bit about on the DPA that we have as well?
Yes. Is that with the heroes and the first responders?
Yes, because I think it's just a great segue because with the 100% financing, we have other options too, right? And one of those options is we use a national down payment assistance program. In the past, it never ran out of money before. And sometimes, like maybe when you're doing buying money from the state of Louisiana, they might run out of funds. So you might be sitting 2-3 weeks and hoping that fund comes. So with the program we have that's national, we can use that for FHA loans, conventional loans. And what that simply does, we actually finance that down payment. So if that down payment is 3.5% because of the FHA loan, or if it's a conventional loan, it's the down payment is 3% or 5%, then we simply finance that in the form of a second mortgage, right? And it's over a 10-year term. The note is super, super cheap. It's no pre-penalty involved. And then we have a product that actually we call a soft second. And it actually, in 3 years, if you make 3 years of consecutive on-time payments, that actually is forgiven. The loan is forgiven. Well, why is that important? Well, it goes back to that roof development. if you have 100% finance with zero money down, right? Because the down payment assistance program pays for your closing costs. Now you can combine that with sell a concession, right? Now we could go back to that story where you can potentially close a home with no money out of pocket, right? And so one of the big benefits to that is that, one, you get to keep that money that you did save, right? You need that for your furniture in your house, right? Oftentimes when people move in a new home, you don't want to bring them old furniture from their old house.
Yeah.
You talked about it earlier. You might not want to bring their old car and park their old car in your new garage, right? Or
Right.
New driveway. But again, don't buy the car till you buy your house first. Get your home, then you go get your car.
All your furniture.
Yeah,
all appliances, anything.
Exactly. We didn't have that happen before, so we just want to make sure you guys are educated, you have the wisdom, so you don't make those mistakes. And so it's a very simple transaction. Once we pull the credit, we'll look at the credit, that's some guidelines, and then we will determine, hey, this would be a good fit for you. If it is, then we just simply set that up, lock in the funds, so it's not being given away to nobody. You are conscious that you're going to get that down payment, and then we can move forward. So just wanted to touch bases on. I thought that was a good segue in there for that.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
Be it for business or pleasure, you can configure UrbanSmartNetwork.com to give you the most reliable social engagement. Think of UrbanSmartNetwork.com as the ultimate social networking headquarters that help you save precious time. Users have the option of creating a business or personal page that allows them to start an e-commerce business without any programming knowledge or marketing experience. Join UrbanSmartNetwork.com now, one of the fastest growing social media platforms.
So, Randy, I want to talk about what you guys are doing for the first responders.
Yeah.
And the people out here that are helping us out throughout this COVID madness. What are you guys doing for them?
Sure. And that down payment, that's a part of that, right? It's for police officers, firefighters, our teachers, right? And our school system. You're working for the school system for that person. Even supportive team members, medical providers, no matter what profession in the medical, whether that person is CNA, RN, doctor, dental assistant, we're able to help and serve them as well. And then also, of course, our veterans, whether they are retired or they are active, we're able to help give them that same 100% financing. And what we do as a mortgage bank, Veronica and I, my wife and I, we actually give $500 as a lender credit to actually cover some of that closing cost, just to say thank you for your service in the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you guys are doing that, because they definitely are overlooked, and they're great neighbors to have.
Absolutely. Great.
Everybody on that list. So everyone deserves home ownership, but especially those who are out here working every day for us, for sure.
Absolutely. And we want
especially the teachers with these children. They need it.
And we want to keep the stress down. And see, what you're doing with this podcast is important, because what I've learned in life, that stress actually lowers the immune system. So when a doctor is doing an organ transplant, one of the things him or her is going to do is give stress hormones to that patient to shut off the immune system. So that way the organ that's being embedded into that body is going to be accepted, because the immune system is shut off. But if the immune system is on and strong, it's active, it's going to reject the organ. So think about that for a moment. This is researchable, right? Going through your own research. If stress actually shuts off the immune system and or lowers the immune system, right, then in the midst of COVID-19, right, people lost their income, people lost portions of it or even all of their income. And so their stress level was extremely, extremely high. And that means their immune system was compromised even more. So when we look at the fact and say, listen, what if we could solve the number one problem of stress, the number one cause of stress? And people go Google it, they go YouTube it, do wherever they like to research, right? And just type in, what's the number one cause of stress? And that's going to be money. It's going to be financing. So with these educational podcasts, is now individuals be able to get their education, understand what they are receiving, and now they can lower their stress or hopefully eliminate their stress, and we can potentially save lives.
Yeah, that was a word right there, Randy. That was a word. We need, and home ownership is so important, okay? And when you work hard every day, there is no reason why you should have to answer to a landlord. You should have to worry about during this COVID crisis if you're going to be able to pay your rent. Because when you have a mortgage, you can call that mortgage company and you can work out plans with them. Okay. And they will work with you because they don't want to foreclose. It costs them money to foreclose on the property. So if you call a mortgage company, they will work with you, especially throughout COVID. They will work with you with late payments. It's all about communication. You don't have to pay a mortgage until the 15th. When I found that out, that was reason enough for me because if you're working a regular job, most of the time you get paid on the 1st and the 15th. So that gives you 2 checks to pay your mortgage out of one of them, at least. It gives you an opportunity to gain some momentum and you're not scrambling every month like you would be to pay on the 1st rent. You're not going to this landlord, with your stories on hopes that they'll have mercy on you because they have to still pay the mortgage, right? So they have that burden on them as well. So when you're a homeowner, it's a relief of stress. It's yours. It's nothing like having your own. And it makes it all better if you're working hard every day and you coming home to your own. Right? That nobody can tell you about, nobody can take from you. Long as you pay your mortgage payments, it is yours. And it is something that you can pass on to your family. It is something that you can use as leverage to create wealth, to maybe refinancing, taking out a line of credit and purchasing the investment property. So it's different choices and different options that you have once you own a home. I know you talk a lot about it, Randy, in your classes. And I love to hear you talk about just owning a home. And if you want to share really quick your Veronicas story, I love to hear you talk about that in the classes.
Sure. Absolutely. And like you mentioned, that home ownership gives you the opportunity to relieve that stress. And that's why I brought that up with our heroes, because we can't have them stress. I don't want my children teachers stressing. I need them learning, right? When my family member go to the doctor, I need them focused. And, like you mentioned, by, having that home ownership, most people don't know that the interest that you pay on your mortgage is tax deductible, right?
Yes.
So really, you're not really paying no interest when you really think about it. And so home ownership is extremely important because, we talked about, I'm being the executive director of Louisiana Housing Authority, corporate branch manager of Geneva Finance, all those good accolades, that's great. But I come from very humble beginnings, right? My parents, neither one of them was rich and wealthy, but they loved me, they cared for me, and they gave me all the principles I need to be able to survive. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for the majority of my childhood. When I became a teenager, she started working as a domestic worker. My dad, he was a construction worker. And I had an older brother who was like 18 years older than me, was in and out of jail all my life, so I really didn't know him. I had another brother that was 11 years older than me, and he used to share stories with me as a teenager, as I was growing up, of what he went through in hopes that I didn't make those mistakes. But still, even though I had a 2-parent household, I had a brother that was watching over me, I still became an at-risk youth growing up here in the city of New Orleans. I became a struggling single teenage father at an early age. And in 2005, during Hurricane Katrina, like most people, I lost every thing I owned in that storm. Water was to the roof, couldn't even save a photo. And I remember being in Atlanta in a hotel room. My feet was flat against that floor, sitting on the corner edge of that mattress, elbows in my lap, staring at the news. And I saw a grocery store that was near my home in Gentilly. It was called Ferrera Grocery Store up on Litchfield.
Oh, yes, I love Ferrera.
Right. And when I saw that water over that roof line, I knew that I was basically homeless at that point. But I was making pretty good money, so the world would say. I was a stationary operating engineer for the city of New Orleans, but I was spending really good money because I didn't have a financial plan and didn't have a financial education. So I found myself at that time in the most desperate moment. I was broken, I was busted, I was broken, and I hit rock bottom. Because I'll be the first one to tell you my credit score was horrible. It was in the 500s, low 500s. And I had less than $500 in my savings account. But I knew that that could not happen again. I could not allow that to happen again because my family was counting on me. And so my brother, who I mentioned, who gave me advice, he had purchased a home in Slidell 1 year prior to Hurricane Katrina. And he was sharing with me the stories, the resources, just like you share with your community and your listeners of how to purchase a home. And so he mentored me in that area. And I also found another mentor who was a senior vice president with a financial service company. And I was learning, and I learned the rules of the money. I learned what personal development was. I started actually reading financial books, right? And so throughout that year, I worked on myself. I was able to raise my credit scores. I was able to save money, increase my cash flow. And thank God in 2006, which was 1 year later, in December, in fact, I bought my first single family home, my primary home. And 30 days later, I purchased my first duplex, my first rental in New Orleans. Gave me cash flow. So naturally, my family members and friends were like, listen, what did you do, right? So I started sharing my story with them, sharing resources with them and educating them. And I started referring people to mortgage lenders and helping them buy houses. And I found my passion. And then I realized real quick, well, why should I be sending them off to a mortgage lender when I could do that loan? So let me find out what I need to be a mortgage loan originator. I've done that. And that's what gave us the passion to be able to do what we're doing today. Fast forward just a little bit, I met my wife, Veronica. She was in a corporate bank, and then she moved to the mortgage division. And then we became a mortgage lending team at that time. And we were seeing other people that was coming in from other nationalities, and they was buying these properties to fix and flip, and we realized, well, why can't we do that, right? And so we tapped into the equity that we had in our house. So Veronica and I, when we got married, we actually bought a home together, but we bought it as a REO, a real estate owned property from the bank. We purchased it, I think it was like $45,000 with the purchase price. We had $30,000 worth of repairs to be done. So when we walked in the house, the kitchen was beautiful, the floors were beautiful, everything my wife wanted, she had. But my point of that is, we had $90,000 all in, pretty much, but the house was worth $160,000 when we walked in the door because of the equity. So how we jump-started our investment career is that we refinanced our home, pulled out some cash, we like to call it our go money, that get out of jail money in Monopoly, right?
Yes.
We pulled that equity out and we done our first flip. And then we did another one and another one, and just kind of started to escalate. And we started teaching the community of, hey, how to get access to capital, how to run the numbers to buy and sell properties. Then we was flipping properties very, very aggressively. We started building new construction in Gentilly. And so today, that just brings us fast forward today, where we're just educating, providing service, we're serving leaders, and whatever we could do to help someone, that's what we're here to do.
That's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. It's definitely an inspirational story. And I just hope that you guys, your listeners, you learn something from us here today, something that you can take away. I'm going to include on the YouTube page all the links to all the resources that I mentioned. I am also going to include the information on the income scale, so you know if you even qualify as far as income. And I will have Randy's information so you can contact him directly with any questions you may have, or if you're ready to get started, he can definitely help you with that. And I can, as always, help you with buying, selling, or investing in real estate. I'm with Crown Jewel Realty. We have a team of 10 agents. We do everything from residential to property management to commercial real estate. We have a new resource available called New Orleans Home Search. It is an app. It's available on Apple Play and Apple Store and Google Play. So definitely download New Orleans Home Search and stay tuned for New Orleans Home Search podcast. We are on the first and third Thursday of every month, coming to you with insightful information about real estate and New Orleans. Peace out, y'all.
Only on UrbanSmartNetwork.com.